Good morning. Good morning, Empower 2018. I got one of these too. And I thought if you don't like what I say, I can give myself a round of applause. I'm just joking. Good morning, and I'm excited to be here and really honored to be here with you today to kind of talk a little bit about what makes us tick at Oakland County, Michigan. But they told me I had like 15, 20 minutes, and normally it takes me 15 minutes to say hello. So I'm going to do my best and hopefully share some thoughts with you. I would like to really start with what my foundation is as a CIO and what really makes me tick in my belief set. And the world of government is really a challenging time. During the mid-2000s, we went through an incredible recession where we lost 25% of our tax base. Michigan was hit hard, and the recession really hit our area hard. We lost jobs, we had foreclosures, we had everything going on. And here we were trying to manage government. And in many cases, sometimes a recession is a really important tool into thinking about government differently. Well, I've also had the wonderful opportunity to work for a visionary. Our county executive, L. Brooks Patterson, is a true visionary. He wants us to stay on the front edge of service delivery and at the same time be very innovative. In his leadership, we've actually become one of the top-ranked digital counties in America from the Center for Digital Government, and we're very proud of that. So I began to wonder, what does government need to look like? What is the future of government? And to understand the future, you have to understand the current state. So I started looking at our budget, and I started just dissecting it row by row, item by item, line by line. Here's what I found. 65% of our operating budget was consumed through law enforcement and the administration of justice. That only left 35% for everything else. How would we fund public health? How would we fund veterans services? How do we fund all the other services that we need to do? So I began to wonder, what do we need to do? And for those that were able to attend yesterday, I was able to do a leadership talk, and as I was preparing for that kind of talk a number of years ago, I ran across a really cool video. It's a TED video, and it's Simon Sinek, Start with Why, How Great Leaders Inspire Action. And what he focused on was why we do what we do and not what we do. And in government, we're stuck with what we do because in many cases, we've been doing the same what for 25, 30, 40 years. So what we need to do is we need to think differently. We need to go ahead and say, hey, why? Sometimes my staff at Oakland County IT, they think I'm like a 3-year-old because I'm always asking why? But isn't that the question we should be asking ourselves? Why do we do what we do? This video, I actually coupled with another video that I had the good fortune to look at, was Walt Disney a number of years ago. He explained Epcot. And it drove me to think, why, and how can we look at our government different in the future? So how many of you, raise your hand, know what Epcot stands for? Okay, a few. It's the Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow. And what he did in the video was he laid out this prototype community, and he talked about the different types of planning services and the different types of services that we could drive for citizens. Here's the interesting part. The video was released in 1966. Walt Disney was way ahead of his time. My oldest son, Brad, who came up to me when he was 8 years old and said, Dad, I want to be a chef at Disney World. I said, okay, son. So I'll put you in cooking classes. So at 8 years old, he started cooking classes, got his culinary degree, and now he is a budding chef at Epcot at Walt Disney World. And he sent me the video, and he said, Dad, what do you think of this video? What do you think about the message that it sends? And it got me thinking, it got me pondering, what does government need to look like in the future? So I decided I would write a paper. So I wrote a draft white paper on what I considered to be the future of government. One section of it was very important to me because I started to focus on what is virtual government? Should we just do everything online? And I shared the paper with my youngest son, Stephen. He's studying public policy and international relations at Michigan State University's James Madison College. Go green. I knew I'd get it. But he's out there studying this, and you know what he said? He said virtual government would be a mistake. I didn't get it. What do you mean it would be a mistake? He said, Dad, it would be like everything else on the internet. Government needs a sense of place. In other words, you still need the dome. This is a Generation Z person telling me they don't want everything virtually. That was an epiphany for me, and I had to think more about that. So my final foundational piece that I wanted to share with you today comes from my lovely wife, Kathleen. She's a middle school social studies teacher. And I don't know about you, but there's no way in heck I would ever put myself in a 6th, 7th, or 8th grade classroom. I give her credit. She inspires me. I couldn't do it. But what she talks to me about is that this new generation of young person learns in short bursts. And everything has to be abbreviated and it has to be now. So then I started thinking, as government, how are we going to serve that new generation of person in the future? Our new consumers will not accept government the old way. We have to do things differently. So to recap on my foundational pieces, I am blessed to work for a visionary. I've had a number of influences in my life that have focused on why I do something, not what I do. My own family, my wife and sons, have forced me to shift my thinking about the future of these services. So why do I do what I do? When one builds a career in public service, money is not the motivation. For all you people in public service, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there we go. I got a clapper. So money's not the motivation. And you know what? The customers could be a finicky bunch, can't they? They love you one day, and then the next day they don't. So it's a what have you done for me lately world sometimes. So when you explore why you want to build this career, you have to start thinking about what really drives you. This is my 30th year in public service. My 18th year as the CIO for Oakland County and Deputy County Executive. So I truly believe, though, that the world needs people that are passionate about helping others. They need people that want to serve other people. Thank you. All right, cool. It's kind of self-aggrandizing, right? Clap for me. So there's 3 words that I use when I talk about government and the need to do what we do. We provide, we serve, and we help. We provide the much-needed programs that people need. We serve the citizens that pay our salary. And then we help those that are most in need. So let me digress for a second, because I have a brief story I would like to share with you. I started my career at Oakland County as an entry-level tax assessor. Everybody loves the tax assessor, don't they? I mean, they just want you to come to your house and appraise their house so they can be taxed on it. Well, that's what I did. And I approached a homeowner one day in his yard, and I had done it hundreds of times before, and he was out working in his garden, and he got agitated fast. And he said, "Do they pay you to do this work?" So anybody who really knows me, I was young, brash, a little full of myself, nowhere near like I am today, right? All the Oakland County people are there. And I said, and remember, he said, "Do they pay you to do this work?" And my answer was, "Quite handsomely." He was a little agitated to the point where he got up, he stood up and he said, "I pay your salary." And again, I think things are funny in my head. They don't always come out funny. So here's how I responded. I said, "I own a home in Oakland County too. Therefore," and I said it that way, "therefore, I pay property taxes. That means I pay part of my own salary, so I'm taking the afternoon off." Well, he got enraged. He called my manager. He called my county executive. I was called into the office. So I walked into the office, and there was this older Italian guy, and I'm Italian, and he's Italian, and that was in the day when you could smoke cigarettes while you worked. and he'd walk out and he'd have the cigarette sticking out of his mouth. "Bertolini, get in my office." I knew I was in for it. So I walked in and I said, "Yes, sir, what can I do for you?" And he said, "Do you think that was funny?" And I said, "Yes, I did." He said, "So did I, but don't do it again." He was a great guy. I learned a valuable lesson that day. They do pay your salary, and they don't have a sense of humor all the time. So my sense of humor has gotten me in trouble over the years. I try. But I cannot think of anything more noble as a profession in serving people. And I get a thrill out of the fact that I get to impact people's lives every day. Now, I understand that this is not a government conference. And I understand that there are people that are here that are not in the public sector. But don't we all have a mission for whatever organization we're from? Don't we have all, something that we're doing that's impacting people's lives? In every way, what I'm talking about transcends industries. This is how we should think about people, and that we should serve people. We work for organizations that have all kinds of missions and beliefs, and I think that we all, in whatever industry we are in, could do well by learning from each other on how to work with people and help people. Now that I've opened up my beliefs on where my belief set are, I want to talk to you a little bit about what our team is doing to make these beliefs a reality. We've been providing shared services at Oakland County since the mid-1960s. It started in law enforcement and tax administration. We were providing mainframe systems in the mid-60s. Over the years, we have grown and we've provided a number of enterprise initiatives to our partners and local governments and other governments around the state. We've enhanced our platforms. We have a very robust geographic information system platform that we share countywide. There's only one GIS system in the entire county. It's maintained by us, and it's consumed by 62 cities, villages, and townships. So we understand what shared services are. But in 2011, we started to think differently. What could we do to change the way we deliver those services? So we created the G2G Cloud Solutions platform. And that platform allowed us to provide e-commerce technologies all around the state of Michigan. Now, in my career, I've learned something very important. You are at your best when you're consulting with the best. And I've had the incredible good fortune through the digital communities efforts at the Center for Digital Government to sit with the best CIOs in the country and talk about these programs. And the very first time I did it, they thought I was crazy. They said, "Why are you getting into the world of e-commerce? That's what the private sector does." But I had heard story after story about small governments who had been dropped by their providers because they didn't generate enough income, or there wasn't enough profit in it for the private sector. So we had to do something. Now, let me be clear. I understand and embrace capitalism. I understand that the private sector needs to achieve profit in their efforts. I get it. But the public sector is seeking to serve its citizens. Those are not opposed to each other. They can work really well together. And what we're trying to do is make that happen. We can provide technologies at a lower cost than many times. We can be very efficient, and we can keep our users on no matter what their size, because profit is not my motivation. Service is my motivation. Currently, we have almost 100 public entities across the state of Michigan. We transacted $58 million through the system last year, drove $2.2 million back to the technology. This program is completely self-sufficient and requires no taxpayer dollar infusions to keep it alive. It totally manages itself and funds itself. The success of these programs made me think, why? And it helps drive our why. So I've long practiced a mantra: build it once, pay for it once, and everyone benefits. Why are we building technologies 30, 40, 50 times when we could simply build it one time? Excuse me. So everyone benefits from it. Now, what this mantra does is it helps us leverage our tax dollars. It helps us leverage technology dollars. Excuse me. I came all the way to California to get a cold. I apologize. And I stashed a water along with my clapper. So we've been able to leverage these dollars, and then we can see what's next for our future. And our team has been thinking about what's next for our future. I think Walt Disney would be proud of us. So the next evolutionary step was taken after we did a number of discussions with our Chief Technical Officer, Jim Taylor. We sat down and did visioning sessions, and we realized that there was something else that the governments needed. They needed a place where they could go look at technologies. They needed a place where they could go share best practices, and we call that the G2G marketplace. We realized that these public entities needed best practice documents. They needed blogs on topics. They needed consulting services. We even have competitively bid contracts out there, and it's free. There's no cost to local governments. So we're excited about where this, because now what we realize is that smaller governments can now use bigger technologies. They can use technologies that were once out of their reach. And to date, the success of the portal, we have over 780 users across all 50 states. And we've had a return of over $500,000 to the technology. What you do is how you manage your why you do it. And what we believe in is demonstrated in these projects. We believe in shared services. We believe in providing, serving, and helping. So how will we keep these efforts moving? So, excuse me, there's no magic wand to technology. There's no army of people that are just going to do everything for you. You need partners. So we know this, and so we are excited that Laserfiche is one of our partners at Oakland County. We have millions of documents that are scanned and stored every day. Back in the day, don't you love that? Back in the day, we would store all these documents in paper form and then just hope to heck nothing happened to them. No fires, no floods. And sadly enough, you know, we're being known as one of the top digital counties in America, and we're still, in some cases, at that phase one of the Laserfiche's digital transformation model. We know this, and our goal is to change that. So we've had some disasters. We actually had a flood one day, and I walked into the room, and the ceiling had caved in, and all the documents were wet. And I don't know about you, but there are companies that specialize in drying pieces of paper. And they had to do that. And the other problem we ran into was our legacy imaging platform was aging. We had built it ourselves. And there were customers in our business units that wanted to come on. And there were projects that were spawning. And I said, time out. We need an enterprise effort. So what we did is we quickly stopped that. We put out a competitive bid, and Laserfiche was the victor. Now, some of you folks at Laserfiche might not know this. Not everybody in our county was happy with that decision. They were not excited because they weren't sure that you would be able to pull off this enterprise initiative with us. So we decided to ask for something. We asked that Laserfiche do proof of concepts in a number of those areas. Every area that we were concerned about. Every area where the business unit was concerned, we asked that they do a proof of concept. And they did that, and they didn't blink an eye. They did the POCs, they were a success, and we are now moving forward with the enterprise implementation. We're going to go end to end in county government, and we're going to make sure we have the best tools in place. And Laserfiche came to the table with its knowledge and its prowess in document management. So we're reinventing our business processes right now. And it's an exciting time. Citizens are now eligible to file online where they struggled to do that in the past. And every time a citizen can file online without talking to someone, that means I have a county person that can help someone else. You saw Suzanne Hollier up here earlier getting that award. We're doing incredible things, and she works in the front of the court, and we all know how much fun that can be. I don't know which is worse, the tax assessor or front of the court. But we have people filing now that couldn't do it before, so it's exciting. Hey, we can hire vendors all day long. Finding partners is much more difficult. So thank you, Laserfiche, for everything you do for us and being our partner. So I, like all of you, like to come to conferences like Empower, and I like to send you away with something because I'm one of those people that believes I need something to take away when I leave a conference. So today, I'm going to leave you with some thoughts that hopefully you can take home and change your world a little bit. First, you need great partners to do great things. Find the right partners, invest in the partnership and the relationship, and then you will be successful in your mission. Laserfiche is one of those partners for us in Oakland County. Thank you, guys. Second, larger entities can help smaller entities. There's times when people are stressed and they might not even have IT people in some of the governments that I work with, and they need the same technology so they can service the same citizens. We can help them. And governments, we're kind of lucky because we only compete with each other when we're trying to attract economic development to our geography. For the most part, we want everybody to do well. Why? Because their citizens are citizens, our citizens are citizens. We should want everybody to have the same ability. All of you, no matter what industry you are in, I'm sure there are the larger entities that can help the smaller entities, and we should be working together. Third, no matter what organization you work for, no matter what core industry you are in, no matter what your passion is, you must believe in why you do what you do. The why drives the what. Now, to close out my speech, and one thing I do want to talk about the why real quick before I do that. In 2016, there was at the Empower conference, the CEO of Heifer International delivered a speech here. And Pierre, I believe his name was, he showed a great example of how powerful you can be when you help other people. Heifer fights hunger, poverty around the world, utilizing small farms. If that isn't a why, what is? Helping other people. So I'm very proud to have stood on the same stage where someone like that came up and talked about how they're changing the world. You must have a passion in what you believe in, and you have to turn that passion into providing, serving, and helping others. So to close out, lastly, in November of last year, I had the great honor to have been selected as a Public Official of the Year by Governing Magazine. I was in a class of 7 people, and it was a high-powered class. I was really excited about it. So we descended on Washington, D.C., and they had a ceremony at the historic Willard Hotel. And they let us each get up and give a speech. And I ended my speech with advice to my young adult sons. And what I want to do is share that last piece with you, because I truly believe it is what drives us to be what we are. So I said to my sons, who weren't there, by the way, like, where are you? No, they had school and stuff. I said to my sons, be good people. Be respectful citizens and be patriotic in every way. Show respect for others and work tirelessly to provide, serve, and help people. Show the world that you can do whatever you want and still care for people and change the world. And then I ended with them saying, thank you for being awesome young men. So to all of you, I look forward to what you're going to do to change the world. And keep pushing, keep pressing, keep understanding your why, and go out there and do what you need to do to be successful. So thank you, Laserfiche, for being great partners. Thank you all for the opportunity to speak. Happy New Year. Enjoy the rest of Empower.